Yes, it helps you get through your classes faster, and you can get ahead of others and graduate early or take college classes.
Yes, because it allows you to work at your own pace, and you can go as fast or as slow as you want.
It has been positive. I was failing almost all my classes in traditional my freshman year, and I think that if I wouldn't have been put into PBDA, I honestly would have dropped out of school as soon as I turned 16.
I feel as if I learned just as much as if not more.
Yeah, because like the computer explains it a lot more than some teacher could.
I feel like it could be the same. It just depends on how much you actually pay attention. Like, I feel like I could learn more about history in a traditional class in the PBDA, but in any other class, I feel like I could learn about the same.
You can get ahead of yourself, and you can graduate early and take college classes.
The fact that you can go, like, you can work at your own pace.
The teacher isn't sitting there telling all the kids to be quiet and to get on track. You are basically your own boss. You're get yourself on track, and if you're not on track, the teacher will tap you like, hey, you need to get back to work.
Right.
But other than that, there's a lot less time wasted. You're not wasting 10, 15 minutes in the class telling people to get quiet, get off their phones.
Right.
I think computer-based learning can be effective for some students. A lot of times our successful students are very smart kids, they're good readers, they've just become bored with school and the whole routine of it. And so when they come to us and learn on the computer, they don't have to wait for classmates that might be behind, they can get ahead. And then we have another set that they need a little bit more time on certain concepts, and they can take that extra time without the whole class having to wait or the teacher having to be like, well, we need to move on and you're just going to have to figure this out. So it can be effective for some kids. Some kids it's not effective if they're not very self-motivated to make progress or to get those credits done. It's very hard for us to be the external motivation for that. We try, we kind of bug and harass them, but if they're just not motivated, it's tough to overcome that.
I think for certain students in this day and age, you have students that like technology, students who can engage in that computer learning all day. I think for them it's a great advantage. They have to be self-motivated though, and they have to want to work at their own pace.
We know that computer-based learning as well as traditional learning are both effective, but we know that computer-based learning can be more effective for a different population of students. You and I both know that students are evolving greatly. We have kids that are digital natives now. They are becoming multitaskers, which means that they really have a different way of thinking. We also know that our students today are handling more adult situations than kids 10, 20 years ago. Our students today have families. They have jobs. We have several students that are working 20 to 40 hours a week on top of going to school. We know that they're paying for things such as their own housing, their own car. So this type of teaching varies greatly from traditional types of teaching. The students that we service that work 20 to 40 hours a week, there would be no way for them to survive upstairs in traditional classrooms. There is no way for them to do that. The only thing that we can think is that computer-based learning is not really effective for all students, but it is effective for our population. Then why is this? Because our students seem engaged with their learning when they're down here. This gives teachers more time to focus on individual students who need help. And I know as a traditional teacher, when I was upstairs for a couple of years, the majority of my one-on-one time with students really was discipline issues, pulling them out into the classroom, trying to get them re-engaged in class. Now, with computer-based learning, my one-on-one engagement is helping kids learn, do better at their writing, do better at their reading. customized courses with computer-based learning. So a student in any given course at any given time upstairs, they have to keep pace with the teacher and with everybody else. Upstairs, I know that they're trying to differentiate instruction, but it can be kind of hard for the teacher to keep up. So what works really well down here is that we have kids of all different reading levels, so we're able to individualize the course for a kid so that a kid that may be at like a 9th grade reading level can read an easier text, whereas a child that maybe has a college grade reading level but is a 9th grader can then be given a differentiated instruction. So that kid could be reading Dante's Inferno, another kid could be reading To Kill a Mockingbird. So it's really easy to differentiate there. That also keeps our kids really tech savvy because they're immersed in technology all the time. They're creating things with technology for products to show their learning. It really, really helps them for a higher accountability almost, because the kids know that they have to get every single module or every single thing done. There is no, well, I just won't turn this assignment in, I'll still pass with a D-. Kids have to be accountable for their learning. And lastly, teachers can really analyze student skills. We know what the kids know and what the kids don't know because it's backed up by the data there. We have it on computer, so we're able to help the kids that way too.
I think the biggest one is working at their own pace. We have some students that may struggle with reading, so they need a little extra time. They don't have to worry about staying with the pace of the rest of the class. And we have some students on the other end of that like to read faster, that learn a little bit faster than others, and they can move forward and get their class.
If they've become sort of just enchanted with school, this sometimes can get them back into feeling like school is important. And then a lot of our students can either catch up their credits if they've gotten behind, or we try and get them to advance and work ahead and get some college credit. So that can be advantages. And then just the graduation rate, make sure they graduate on time with their class.
I really think that I would recommend this style of teaching to other districts. As far as we know, and as you know, other districts are already moving in this direction. If you talk to, I think we've talked to Cedar Falls, we know that there are some people out in the east side of Iowa and some people there on the west side of Iowa that are already starting this type of instruction, and they're seeing really, really good changes within their student population. So yeah.
Yes, I would recommend it. I think within 10 to 15 years, 75% of education will be online learning. I think it's just another technique that school districts can use to catch those probably, I'd say, 25% of students who struggle in a traditional classroom, and just gives them another.
But I recommend it for teaching to other districts. I think there's at least a subset of every population anywhere that could probably benefit. But again, you kind of have to find the kids that it does work for, and it's not a solution all the time for every kid.